Hey guys, Keith Ward here, and I have two special guests. Somebody everybody's been waiting for, wanting. You guys have asked for it, and I have finally found them. It's like finding unicorns. I found them up here at 50 and 95, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce them to you guys and let you see what I'm talking about. And to my left, I have
Patty Brinson.
Patty Brinson. And your name is?
Joanna Brinson.
Joanna Brinson. So, mother and daughter, I take it? And mom, how old are you? 57. And how old are you?
27.
27. And mom, let's start out with you. How long have you been homeless?
About 8 months.
You've been homeless 8 months? And how about you? How long have you been homeless?
It will be a year, December 23rd.
December 23rd will be a year. And it's a little bit windy out here, so I'm going to take the mic and put it close to whoever's speaking. Who wants to tell me a little bit about the circumstances of how you became homeless? Joanna, you wanna tell me what the circumstances of that were? Like how you became homeless? How come you became homeless the day before Christmas? Usually most leases and things like that end on the first of a month. So how come yours was like that?
Well, I was like that because none of my family really cared about me. It seemed like everybody turned their backs on me.
But where were you living? How come your time ended Christmas Eve?
Well, I was staying with my uncle, and he
At his home?
He was staying in the hotel too.
So being in a hotel, that's homeless.
Yeah.
So you've been homeless a lot longer than a year.
Almost 2 then.
So you've been homeless really 2 years.
Yeah.
There's hardcore homeless of being like here you are on the street, and then there's the homeless of either couch surfing or staying in a hotel. So really you've been homeless for 2 years. And how many children do you have?
I have one.
And how old's your child?
He's 11.
And so has your child ever lived in homelessness with you?
He was at the hotel with me, so yeah.
So yes. And what about his father? What was his father's situation?
He had a home and everything.
So you and the father have not been together for some time?
Nope. For years.
For years. So, and then mom, how about you? Do you have any other sons or daughters besides Joanne here?
She's the only daughter I got.
She's the only daughter, only child at all? Okay. And how long have you been homeless? That means living in a hotel, that counts as homeless. So how long have you been homeless?
About 2 years.
So you've been homeless 2 years. And how long have you been this kind of homeless, the kind of homeless on the actual street?
About 8 months.
So 8 months.
I worked at the Hampton Inn.
So you worked at the Hampton Inn. And did you stay at the Hampton Inn too?
No.
No.
I walked from the budget to work and walked home from work every night.
Okay. And how long did you work at Hampton Inn?
I worked there almost 9 years.
And how come you lost your job there?
Well, I lost my check, and it was raining one day, and I went back and found my check. It was soaking wet, and they returned it, and I didn't have no money one night. I took 2 sodas out of the pantry because I was thirsty. So, and they told me they fired me on account of that.
So you stole the 2 sodas, and that was enough for them to fire you?
I think they had other issues. They didn't say that, but that was the main reason.
That was the reason. Mm-hmm. And have you ever been in jail or charged with a crime? No?
I haven't.
Okay.
No charges at all.
Okay, no charges at all. And then Joanne, let's talk. Do you have a criminal record?
Yes,
Have you ever been arrested? You have been arrested. And what was the arrest for? What did you do?
It was retail theft.
Retail theft. Where did you steal from? What did you steal?
Walmart, and I stole clothes.
You stole clothing. Well, how come you stole the clothing? Did you need clothing to wear? Were you? I don't understand.
It was a pair of pants, and at the time, yeah.
So at the time, you didn't have the money, and then also you needed the clothing to wear. So this wasn't that you were trying to resell it. This
No.
was actual survival theft.
Yeah.
So like the same as stealing a sandwich or something like that, because you actually needed it. You weren't running out with a big screen TV or something like that. So what happened with that? So you got arrested.
They pretty much just made me do community service and pay fines.
But you did get arrested when it happened?
That one I did, yeah.
So you got arrested. So you were arrested for that a second time? For theft? I don't. How many times?
The second time, yeah.
So the first time you were just given like almost like a ticket, like a citation.
Pretty much, yeah.
And what did you steal that time?
More clothes.
More clothing. So because you needed clothing, you stole again, basically out of necessity. Look, stealing is stealing. Wrong is wrong.
Yes.
And you agree with this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But you weren't stealing out of greed. You were stealing because you needed clothing.
Yeah.
Okay. I know of somebody who was actually charged with theft they were homeless and they were stealing out of the Goodwill box.
Right.
It's a little ironic that you're poor and homeless and hungry and you get charged with theft stealing from the Goodwill box. But again, like I said, stealing is stealing. And what has your work history been like? Have you held steady jobs or?
I've never been on a payroll check, but I have had babysitting jobs.
So you've done under the table childcare work most of your life is the work that you've done for what, friends and family and acquaintances and things like that?
Yep.
And tell me about
I started when I was 11 years old, babysitting.
Okay. Tell me about your education background. Did you graduate high school? Did you go to college?
I didn't graduate. I got to 10th grade. Mainly because my son at the time I was 15, he was getting sick. And in and out of the hospital. Stop, Rusty. And then my dad was getting sick at the same time, and mom was always at work, so I was the one mainly taking care of both of them.
Okay. So you weren't able to finish high school, and and then you had a baby, how old were you when you became pregnant?
15.
You were 15, and you gave birth when you were 16?
15.
You gave birth when you were 15 also?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of weird because I was 15 when I was pregnant, 15 when I had him, and I turned 16 3 months after.
And when's the last time, this guy looks a little cooped up, you might want to let him, just loosen him up a little bit here. But when's the last time you've seen your son?
I haven't seen him 3 months, and before that it was almost a year.
Okay, so in the past, say year and a half, you've seen him about twice?
Yeah.
Okay, so Christmas is coming up. It's got to be a little hard not seeing your son. And, you're out here on the streets with your mom. And, Mom, let's go back to you. What kind of education do you have, Mom? Do you have a high school diploma? You have college?
I only went to the 8th grade.
So you went to the 8th grade, and you were telling me you were married. And how many years were you married?
35.
You're married 35 years to the same man, and you guys had life together in a home and so on?
Yes.
And you were telling me that it wasn't too long after his death that you became homeless. Is that right?
About 2 years, 3 years after he died.
So 2 to 3 years after he died. And if you could speak up just, a little bit louder, just make sure everyone can hear you. And what did he die of?
He had heart trouble. He had high blood pressure. He died of respiratory.
Did he just fall over dead one day, or?
No. He was in the hospital a week here, and then they transferred him to Melbourne at Kendall Hospital.
So it was over a matter of like 2 weeks from the time he was sick to the time he was dead. About that, it was very quick.
Yeah.
So it's a very sudden loss.
They told me if he lived, that he would be on machines, and he didn't want to be that way. So I got all the family together, and we decided, they would give him morphine.
So, but then financially, after your husband died, that you went from having a normal life with him to then the next month, basically him being dead, and financially it was then a struggle.
Yes.
And was your daughter living with you at the time? So she was living with you at the time, and were you working when your husband passed, or were you not working? You were working.
Yes, I was.
You were working at the Hampton, and then you couldn't keep up on the payments on the house, or what
We
happened?
were just renting.
Oh, you were renting,
Yeah, we were renting. We didn't
and you
own.
couldn't keep up on with the rent with just your income,
Yeah.
and the bill slowly took over
Piled
and
up,
put you out on the street.
Yeah.
And what do you see for your future? How do you see this coming to an end? How do you see yourself getting off the street? Like,
Mainly
what do you think it's going to take?
financially, getting a job.
I know getting a job, and that makes sense, logically makes sense. But how are you going to come to the job clean and healthy day after day? Say you go to the job on Monday wearing this outfit, and then you come back the next day on Tuesday and you're still wearing the same clothes, and you haven't showered and stuff because you're coming from the street, and then that happens on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and so on and so forth. How do you go from, how do you get that start? Because I couldn't imagine really you could do office work and come in wearing the same thing. Maybe you could be a landscaper, or we got some, I know the wind's blowing and stuff here. I hope everyone can hear, but does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's hard.
Have you thought about that, like the reality of how you would go to work the day after day? Like the actual mechanics of how it would work?
Yeah.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You wouldn't know how to do it.
So how come you guys have chosen this patch of area here by Highway 95 off of 50? What is it about this place right here by the Circle K that is comforting? Why here?
Pretty much everything's right here, and we're pretty much allowed to be here.
I'm going to take a pause, but we will finish this up in just a moment. Okay, we're back. We had a little break. We were talking about those realities of work and things like that. But I wanted to talk to you, too, about something else that's on a lot of people's minds. And that would be sexual assaults. And in your case, being younger, having a relationship, even if it's a consensual one, being pregnant. And I'm going to start out with Mom here. Mom, have you been sexually assaulted since you've been on the streets?
No.
No, you haven't? And how have you kept yourself safe? How have you stopped that from happening?
Well, I did get last night. He asked me about.
So you've been propositioned.
Yeah,
Somebody says, do you want to make some money? And you know what they're talking about. That doesn't happen often.
No, it don't happen often.
But you've never had anybody forcibly
No.
try to do anything to you?
No.
And do you think that's because you've mainly stayed in a large group with other people? You think that helps?
I think that helps.
And what about you, Joanne? Have you been sexually assaulted on the streets?
No.
No. And do you have a boyfriend or relationship here on the street?
Yeah.
And what do you do as far as pregnancy? How do you avoid? Because I would imagine bringing another human being into the situation you're in now would just really add to the frustration. And you're having a hard time taking care of yourself now. What do you do to prevent pregnancy?
Well, right now we're not having any kind of sexual anything.
So you're having sexual contact, but it isn't full-blown sexual contact, so that there's that risk of pregnancy. And you know, that's very understandable. I mean, you could go to the health department or some of these other places and see if they would put you on the shot or give out free condoms and stuff like that. But is that on your mind all the time about sexual assault, or thinking about, you know, some of these guys that are sleeping around you? You know, you trust them to a point, but do you ever worry about, you know, when you're sleeping, somebody taking advantage of you? Or?
Oh yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why I don't drink or smoke or anything.
So you would like to kind of pass the time just like the guys do, and you know, have a couple drinks, but really for your own safety, you have to make sure you're constantly with it.
I think it's more because the reason why I don't smoke or drink is because of my health.
Mm-hmm.
So
and what's going on with your health?
It's my asthma, my diabetes, and
so you have asthma and diabetes. And how do you control, especially the diabetes, living on the street?
I'm on a prescribed medication right now.
So you're not on insulin shots, but you're on
a prescribed pill, which is glipizide.
Okay, and how do you check your blood sugar here on the streets?
I actually got a glucose meter that I have to order so I can check it. But right now I don't have one.
So you're on Medicare or Medicaid?
Medicaid.
You're on Medicaid, and do you get food stamps also?
Yes.
So do you see a doctor regularly? Like, meaning,
every month.
So you do see a doctor every month, and that's primarily for your diabetes?
Yeah.
Okay. And how about you, Mom? What's your medical status? What's your health like?
I got diabetes.
You do have diabetes?
They told me I had a black lung.
Okay.
And I have no insurance at all.
No insurance at all. And do you get food stamps?
Yeah, I do get food stamps.
Have you applied for insurance?
No.
And is that because you don't know where to apply or how to apply?
I don't know how to apply. I can't see that good. She usually does a lot of stuff for me.
Okay, so you rely on her a lot because she can see and things like that. You know, plus we're not exactly really close to a public place like a library or something to get this stuff done, which, you know, makes things harder. But again, I was asking you guys why you chose this place here. I think years ago this used to be a truck stop.
It was a truck stop.
In here was a truck stop. And I noticed yesterday that somebody gave you guys a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken to be kind, to feed everybody, which, you know, was nice. Would you guys say that you stay over here too because people are a little kinder over here and help you out, a little generous?
There's some people that's actually really kind, but I think it's more just because of the area.
And I heard that the property owner knows you guys are here.
Yeah.
And he's okay with it, or she's okay with it.
Yep, he's all right with it, and as long as we keep everything clean, we're good.
I noticed that you guys walked around, and I noticed you guys were picking up trash and, you know, sweeping it up, and we're really offended and upset when people leave stuff around. And, you know, I don't think a lot of people really envision homeless people as worrying about their surroundings, but you guys really do care and are making sure, because, you know, you don't want to get tossed out of here.
Yeah.
How often do you guys have contact with the police over here?
So far, my mom they had contact last night, but that was it, but none really.
Did the police come out here because there was a complaint last night, or was it just kind of to check up on you?
They just drive around.
Oh, so just drive around.
They
so
seen us out there.
Okay, so mainly just kind of making sure everything's okay over here, that, you know, everyone's all right, and that's nice. That's their job. And that's good. And I noticed you have a dog here. You have a little companion, and that's got to make being on the street a little easier. I mean, it's another mouth to feed, but at the same time, the companionship has got to mean a lot to you.
Yeah.
And seeing mom and daughter both on the street together, for me, not only is it rare or hard to find a woman that's homeless, but to find actual mom and daughter is pretty remarkable. And I think for now, I'm going to wrap this interview up, and I don't have any more questions to ask, and it's been a long enough interview, and if anyone has any questions, they want to know something, somebody go ahead and just send me a message on Facebook, and I'll try to ask one of these ladies, and we'll go from there. But if anyone has a job or some help, knows how to help them out to improve their situation, please send me a message on Facebook. Thanks, guys.